almost. It looked like it was mud. I don't know what it was. It was a flying saucer or what it was. It wasn't an airplane. It was not an airplane. It was down off the low.
You're listening to Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast with your hosts, Ash Ellis and Greg Tomlinson.
Hey Ash, how are you doing?
I'm very, very excited. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Why are you excited?
Because tomorrow, as we're recording this, we will be back where it all began for
Yes.
us, I guess.
Well, the first time we ever met in person was at this place. And 4 years later,
4 years, yeah.
we are going back to Cannock Chase. So we've done our first sort of live investigation together was at Cannock Chase. And we had a load of weird... It was, I can't believe that. And I randomly met some guy in a forest in the middle of nowhere that I'd never met in person before. So, I mean,
And you survived.
I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. And here we are 4 years later, going back there as part of our charity month, which is cool. And just to remind, it'll be over by the time this episode goes out.
It'll be coming towards the end of it. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so we've been, the whole of July, we've been raising money for Mind UK and Orchid, which is a male cancer awareness charity. And we had a lovely message from them on Instagram yesterday, which was really nice. And you could check out the video on our TikTok and social medias for my tough video. That was a real tough video to record, to be fair. But just explaining why I chose Orchid, following the death of my father when I was 14. So yeah, that was a tough one, but it was good to get it out. So thank you to everybody who's sent us gifts, subscribe to us on TikTok, Patreon, everywhere. Bought merch, yeah. Bought a book. Still time for all of that as well. And we will be going live tomorrow night, as it is, which will have already happened, which is weird. But I'll speak to you more about that because TikTok changes tomorrow, Ash.
Oh, okay.
You can't say the word gift on TikTok lives from tomorrow.
Can't see
just
it.
let you know, apparently. You can swear and everything, but you just can't say the word give me gifts. Or not that we do, but the word gifts. So just a pre-warning. I got told that last night.
But you had to set up gift goals. So how do you...
Yeah, but you don't have to say... You just can't say it. Yeah. It was mentioned that you go check out the TikTok shop or something like that, and that was like a code word for thanks, give me the gifts, or
Right, okay.
I don't know, mate. I'm a middle-aged man. I shouldn't be on TikTok anyway, but here we are. So, 2 days ago, you went to the Priest Cottage for a second time.
Second time in just over 2 weeks, yeah. Where we started off the kind of charity month.
Yeah.
Pretty much the first week. And then I got a good offer to go. It was like very, very impulsive. So I thought,
it was.
literally hours before, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Invited a friend along, Dan Lynch, to come with, so he was available. So I wasn't on my own. I'd happily done it on my own the whole night. That'd been fine, but was a bit better with someone being there with me. And I think it's better for the TikTok as well.
Yeah. And there were loads of things happened, which was super cool.
Yeah, we had quite a lot of, again, the floor above us, lots of footsteps, stuff being knocked over, tiles being knocked over, doors closing, stuff like that. So it was really good, and over the course of the TikTok stream, we raised nearly £40.
Yeah, it's mad.
For the charity. Just in that couple of hours we were live streaming, so that was
it's amazing.
Really good.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Well done. And that was, I watched the whole thing, and unfortunately I was 4 hours away. But yeah, no, that's super cool. Well done. That was really good. think everybody enjoyed it as well. So,
It's good. It was
so this week we are going to be speaking to somebody who I had the pleasure of meeting at Parameet earlier in the year. And I watch her YouTube, and she's got tens of 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, I think, around about that now.
Oh no, it's less than that. It's like 30 odd. It's fine.
We'll round it up.
37.
Too humble.
And yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting you, and we had a chat at Parameet, and I've been watching your YouTube videos, and there's a load of good ones that I want to talk about. Ancient Ramin, Enfield Poltergeist, a couple of my favourites. So welcome along, Don't Scare Claire. We don't just call you Don't Scare Claire all the time, do we?
No, just call me Claire, that's fine. Yeah.
Welcome along. I know we've been trying to organise this for a little while.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we finally got there in the end.
We did. So thank you for joining us. It's really good to have a chat to you. So, Don't Scare Claire. What's that all about? Tell us how it started and why Don't Scare Claire.
Yeah, so I guess it really all started back when I was like a young kid. I mean, a lot of us in the paranormal, we all grew up a little bit weird, didn't we? Growing up on Most Haunted and things like that, and then a little bit later Ghost Adventures, because it was before the dawn of YouTube. Like it was really just paranormal TV or nothing really, and I carried that on into adulthood, and like through uni I'd be binge watching episodes of Ghost Adventures and things like that. But eventually I came to the point where kind of figured out that like all was not what it seems. An investigation on TV, so we'll say no more about that. But I was more interested in the history and the actual like witness interviews and things like that. And I think it was Ghost Adventures, and they covered somewhere that I was familiar with anyway, and they got a part of the story wrong, or like it was a little bit off, or it was like a common misconception or something. And I just had the thought to myself, like, I could do better than this. Like I could do it so much better. And so, yeah, it started from there, really. At the time, I had my own business. Me and my husband, we have like a marketing business anyway. So like I had a little bit of time where I could sort of dedicate to it. And that's where it started. I guess I launched the 1st of October, 2023, 28 days before my wedding. So could have timed that one a little bit better. But we got through it, and we're still here. So in 2025, still going strong, and yeah, still enjoying the stories. As for the name, Don't Scare Claire, I always used to get called Scary Claire, so there was going to have to be some sort of rhyming in there, and so I have Mr. DSC to thank for that title. He thought of it, so so yeah.
And he's affectionately known to everybody as Mr. Don't Scare Claire.
He is, yes.
He's such a nice guy as well. Ash, you'd really like him. Yeah, so that's really cool. And it's interesting. We speak to people, and you can gauge an age of how old people are roughly about what paranormal shows they were into. So, like, I was Arthur C. Clarke's World of Strange Mysteries, and nobody under the age of 40 has probably even heard of that. Or maybe even under the age of 45 has even heard of that. But that's the kind of thing that everybody grew up on Most Haunted, pretty much, didn't they?
Yeah.
So what you mentioned about Ghost Adventures, because Ghost Adventures done it slightly different to Most Haunted, but a TV like Paranormal Investigation is a TV Paranormal Investigation, and if they don't get stuff, they generally do get stuff, essentially, because it's all about the viewers. And I've seen enough of Most Haunted at 30 East Drive to last me a lifetime. So have you ever been on a paranormal investigation yourself?
Yes, I've done a couple, and it is thanks to the channel, actually. I'd never actually been on an investigation before starting this channel. So yeah, I've done a few like little different collaborations with different investigators and YouTube channels. So it was very enlightening to see. Obviously, from my perspective, all I've seen is as an entertainment thing. Obviously, like I've seen more of like the Ouija brothers and like Ghost on Trent and people like that now. But to actually be there and experience it for myself, it was really interesting, and yeah, definitely valuable.
Did these places scare Claire?
No, I mean, I say that not. I am scared of the dark, so that is inherently across anywhere. I will have some level of nervousness. I think it was when I went to Shrewsbury Prison with Exploring the Entity. And they were like, "Oh, do you want to go into Sea Wing all on your own?" I'm like, nope, don't want to do that. Not for the ghosts. It's just scared of the dark. So. Yeah.
Do you believe?
Now that isn't that the question.
Mm-hmm.
I so desperately want to believe, and I do find myself being quite forgiving when I'm looking at the stories that I cover and what different witnesses claim to have seen and things like that. But at the end of the day, I do still retain quite what I would say is a healthy dose of skepticism. Like if there is a massive hole in your story, chances are I'm going to call it out and things like that, especially when a place claims to have a ghost and it had this backstory, but there's no historical evidence to back up this backstory. It's not saying that it didn't happen. It's just I'm just taking your word for it at this point. So yeah, I call myself a skeptical believer, which seems like such a cop out, but yeah, it is what it is.
Has your thoughts on the thing kind of changed since when you started the channel to today?
I think I can look at stories a lot more critically now. I think from my earlier videos where literally anything was like, oh my God, yes, of course that's a ghost, to now I'm a bit like, well, did it really happen like that? Like, was there a car driving past or like anything like that? So I think it just comes with like the development of the skill of like researching and like, looking into these stories properly. I'm able to see a lot of different perspectives, and as well, like I learn all the time in my comment section. People all share different things. Like if people know more about the location or about that particular history, then I can take that forward into maybe like a similar topic that I then go and research as well. So I definitely think it's going to be one of these things that I never stop learning in, and I will never say that I know it all, or I'll never call myself an expert in it, because I mean, an expert in the paranormal, like, yeah.
There's lots of them apparently.
Sure.
Mostly on Facebook as well, which is weird. So I know you cover off a lot of different locations and sort of stories, and what has been your most favourite one to research and talk about?
I always find this question really difficult to answer because
Sorry.
no, it literally just depends on what I'm researching that week. Because every single story that I research, I get fully immersed into. I read everything that I can about it in the time that I have. So for that week, Mr. DSC just gets bombarded with like, oh my God, did you know this? And this happened. And then there was this ghost and all of this. Like he gets like the unfiltered version. You get the nice, like nicely edited stuff. But probably all time, I would say it's got to be like Disneyland and things like that, which just seems like such a left field topic. And it was recommended to me when I first like started getting going, and I thought, oh, it's going to be like a quick 20-minute episode, and oh my God, was I wrong? I'm still going now with extra parts to this. I think I'm on part 4 or 5 to it. Like there's just loads. There's so many alleged ghosts going on just at the Disneyland part, which is the Anaheim one. That's not even getting into like Walt Disney World or anything. It's just super haunted, and I love hearing about all the different ghosts. Like a place where little kids go on rides, but then it's also, yeah, lots going on.
You mentioned earlier about you never saw the Ghost Adventures where there's like got something wrong about like a misconception. Are there any sort of things you found in like similar to that maybe, or even that one where somewhere famous that a lot of people say it's something about, but you've actually found that that's not true?
Oh, there have been quite a few, and I'm really struggling to think of one off the top of my head. Yeah, there have been quite a lot, and when I find it and I call it out, I just like activate smug mode because I'm like, no one said this before. But yeah, I'm trying to think. No, not off the top of my head can I think of one, but yeah, if you ever fancy going through 100 videos, you might find one or two that I'll call out.
Interesting too, because I was drawn straight away to the Enfield Park Ice. It's my all-time favourite sort of paranormal event, alongside Skinwalker Ranch and that kind of stuff. But in terms of like poltergeists, what's your take on it? Do you believe it happened? Because I know from my own research and everything I've watched about it, because I've watched a lot of stuff about it. The girls did fake stuff.
Yeah.
They come out and said they faked it. But do you believe something happened there?
I do think something happened there. Like you say, I mean, they even came out and admitted it, and like I think that was the one where they actually said that they stole the recorder or like something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're kids. They played on it. They saw all this attention, and so like they're gonna keep doing the things that get them attention, sort of thing. But I do think something was going on. To the extent I'm a little less sure, but yeah, there was something weird going on.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I'm there with you. You mentioned on that episode, that was one I was listening to earlier as well, actually, that there was a Channel 4 documentary or BBC documentary about it. I don't know if you've seen the documentary that was on Apple TV about it. It's a 4-parter and it's incredible. What they did was they've taken all of Morris Gross's audio tapes. All the audio is exactly the audio that took place, and they've got people, actors, and the real set, and they mime the actual audio. It's incredible with all the stuff happening and everything that's been recorded. So yeah,
that is
awesome.
Yeah, definitely gonna check that one out.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. And once you watch it, you're like, how's this not been a thing before? It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, definitely gonna. And that's on Apple TV.
I think so. Yeah, unless you've got a dodgy Fire Stick, and you might be able to.
No, I follow the law to a T. I do. I'm a good citizen.
Same.
I was laughing. I just sat there, just looking at the screen. I was like, "He's so cute, that dog."
I know. He just anytime he hears me talking, or like when my husband's on a call or something, he just has to be center of attention. So, yeah, I know you're very cute, aren't you?
So you also do a lot of talking at conferences. You were at Parameet. Do you enjoy publicly speaking about all the stuff that you research, or do you prefer to be behind the screen?
Yeah, that was an interesting one because Parameet, that one was the first time that I'd spoken publicly, like in the paranormal. Once I'd got over the nerves and oh my god, this is terrible, I'm gonna die. It was okay, and I would do it again. I guess I don't really feel that sort of like visceral stage fright that a lot of people have, and like with being camera shy and things like that. I have been doing this a long time now, like doing the paranormal stuff. I've been talking to camera and doing different sort of like publicly things. So it was never that much of a big deal for me to get over, if that makes sense. So yeah, like speaking publicly and obviously carrying on doing the YouTube is definitely something that I see myself doing for quite a while. Yeah.
How long does it take for you to do an episode? Because they're very well edited, and with the videos and like the Marilyn Monroe one, and there's like loads of video clips in there and graphics.
Yeah, it takes over my life. I'm pretty much doing this full time at this point because I have no life to be able to do anything else. So I think actually the Enfield one, that was a really early one that I did. So that one was completely edited by me as well. I did everything for that one. But what I'd usually start off with doing is I spend a couple of days getting into the research. and it is literally like 2 solid days. As soon as I come home from like the gym, I'm straight on at work until like 7-8 o'clock in the evening. Once I've got all of that, I do write my script out word for word, because otherwise I would squirrel brain off into some weird tangents and it just take double the amount of time to edit. So yeah, once I've done all of that, that's probably like 2-3 days. I'll usually record it then. That is probably like half a day, something like that. And then I do a little bit of the editing myself still. So like all of the sequencing, cutting out all of the weird, stupid things that I say that will never make it to the final edit kind of thing. And then I have an editor who's started to help me. He's been helping me for over a year now. The wonderful Hal Sinden from Eulogy Media. He's absolutely fantastic at what he does. So he helps with putting in all of the media and like making it all look very pretty. And he helps to sort of like put the final package together. So I would say between us, it probably does take a good full week to do a whole episode. But yeah, really proud of like what we are able to put out with like my research, his media genius. Together we make a good team.
With your marketing background as well,
I do feel like sometimes I do have a bit of an unfair advantage with knowing fundamentals and principles of what needs to go in where, and retention and SEO and all of that sort of stuff. So that definitely does play a part. Yeah.
That's one thing we had to learn on the fly. We sort of met online, me and Ash, and then 2 weeks later we had the first episode out, and we've been learning ever since, haven't we, Ash? So it's interesting to speak to somebody who's like very good at it.
I mean, it is such a learning curve. Like you get into this and you're doing the podcast because you love the paranormal, and now you have like all of this other stuff that you need to be able to do on top of talking about ghosts, which is what I'm guessing you got into doing this for. Like, it is a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think we knew what we were getting ourselves into, especially after that first episode that took about 2 hours to record, like 5 minutes worth of audio because we were laughing, and the Zoom days during lockdown, that's when it was.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the Zoom parties.
So what would be your dream story or event or location to cover that you haven't already?
Ooh.
Or the one that you've got in the pipeline, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I do have like a full spreadsheet's worth of different ideas and things that I want to get to. I take a lot of requests as well. So if I just went off requests alone, I could fill the rest of this year and next year. I have so many different places that people have asked me to cover. So in terms of like a dream location to cover and things like that, I just cover them because, I mean, I'm literally just sitting in my spare bedroom talking about it. I can talk about anywhere in the world. It's not like I have to get on a plane and go to these places to investigate and things like that. So yeah, I've got some very interesting ones in the pipeline. So currently, what will probably have already gone out, I don't know when this podcast episode is going out, but at the minute, yeah, the one that I'm doing at the minute is on the Colosseum in Rome, which, considering its dark history, I never put it 2 and 2 together that it could be haunted. Turns out super haunted, apparently. So that one's been a really interesting one to look into. And I do quite like getting into sort of like the ancient history and how that relates to the ghosts as well, instead of more recent like disasters and things like that. So yeah, there's kind of like 2 different avenues that you go down with these stories. So yeah.
Is there any little teasers or tidbits you could give us about like the more ancient kind of, say, side of things?
I mean, what I find really interesting, so take for the Colosseum, for example, I'm only talking so freely about it because it will have already gone out by this point, is that pretty much all of it is just residual. And I mean, when you think about the thousands of people that died, someone says that there's like 1 million animals that were killed over like the 4 centuries or something, that it was being used for what it was used for.
Wow.
That's a lot of bloodshed, that's a lot of energy, and that's a lot of trauma. Like, people will not have been killed instantly, they will have been like bleeding out and things like that. But there's no quote unquote intelligent entities there. It is all just residual. And so it does kind of make you wonder about, like, well, has it always been that way? Do ghosts sort of like fade away? That's why you don't see like caveman ghosts and dinosaur ghosts and all that sort of stuff. It's really interesting to think about, and I always love looking at ancient history and things. So yeah.
So do you think there's the different types of ghosts, like you mentioned, residual kind of hauntings there? Or do you believe that there's different types of hauntings that people experience?
Yeah, I do. I think there are. I mean, like those 2 examples. So like where certain entities will interact with you and things like that, whereas other times they'll just brush past you because you're not even there in their world. I also think that time slips are a thing. Don't ask me how they work. I don't know how any of this works, but I definitely think there's something there too. And then also just that process of storing energy and things like that, and how, so like the example that I always use is that if you walk into a room, like, you can tell that the 2 people that are already in the room have been arguing. Like, you can feel that vibe. For that to still be stored this many centuries later, say at the Colosseum, that just goes to show how much of that energy was being sort of like, I don't know, blasted out, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, short answer, yes, I do think there are different hauntings.
Have you had any experiences, either growing up or as an adult, that you thought that's...
I do feel like I'm a little bit of an anomaly in that I never really had anything happen when I was a kid. I know a lot of people get into the paranormal because they saw an old man standing at the end of their bed when they were 4 years old. If that had happened, I would have been in therapy this entire time. You would have never... Don't Scare Claire would not have been a thing, because no. So I've had a couple of experiences that I wouldn't outwardly say are paranormal. I just don't know what they were, and I don't really have an explanation for what happened to me. The most notable one was probably when I was on, funnily enough, a ghost tour at the National Justice Museum. And it was one of those like little like LED candlelight lit things. So like all the lights were off, and the guide was telling you all of these different stories and whatnot. And we'd walked into the courtroom, which I don't know if you've ever been. It's the big museum in Nottingham. It's an absolutely fantastic place. If you can go and investigate it, definitely do. But you walk into this courtroom, and it's this massive, imposing room, and it's got a big balcony. And the tour guide was telling us about how like shadows are seen flitting on the balcony and things like that. And this is just as soon as we'd got into the tour. This was the first room, and I felt what felt to me like a migraine coming on. So I get aura migraines. I get like the blindness coming across my vision and things like that. And all I could think at that moment was, please, like, I've paid money to be here. I need to do this for the research. I don't want to have a migraine right now. But it was coming thick and fast. And I was just sat there getting worse and worse. Like, I need to go and lie down. Otherwise, I'm going to be out for the count for the next 2 days kind of thing. It was a really bad one. And I just happened to look up at the tour guide kind of thing, as if to like, I'm about to get her attention. Like, I need to leave. And this massive like bolt of lightning flashed across my vision, which has never happened to me before, never happened since. Could have been something to do with the aura migraine, whatever, don't know. So that was very weird. But then before we'd got into the courtroom, it was like a little bit of a health and safety bit, which they kind of have to do. And she said, yeah, sometimes the entities here, they might interact with you, they might get a bit close for comfort, they might affect you. If you feel like you're being affected or anything, you just need to try and ground yourself, like relax, and if you can, move away from the space where you are. I was in the trenches at this point, like really going through this migraine. I was like, right, there's nothing I can do. This woman is in her flow. I'm not about to interrupt her ghost stories. So I just planted my feet where I was on the floor. I was sat on one of the benches and I just went, this is not happening. No. And literally as soon as I did that, gone, completely gone. And I don't know if you suffer from migraines or anything, that does not happen. Wishful thinking is amazing, but yeah. And I carried on the ghost tour, absolutely fine. And yeah, that's never happened to me ever before. So yeah, again, don't know, could have been a weird body thing, but I find it a bit strange.
Interesting. That's different to what you kind of hear as well. Usually, that's quite like a different type of kind of experience.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. It's more like a proper physical one, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like affecting your, like obviously your vision and stuff like that as well. So that's mad.
Yeah, it was a very strange one, but yeah, like I say, like still not enough for me to say that there's definitely ghosts going on. Like until a literal ghost comes up and smacks me in the face, I'm probably always going to be a little bit on the fence anyway.
So we cover off all aspects of the paranormal, and since we started the podcast, like I got into it from the ghost side, Ash was the UFO side. Have you delved into sort of UFOs, cryptid? I know you covered off Cannock Chase, but cryptid side or anything like that, is that something that interests you?
Yeah, it is. It is definitely that. I mean, that like whole sort of the sphere of weirdness is, it kind of all goes hand in hand, doesn't it? I definitely do want to cover more sort of like UFO encrypted sort of stories in the future. I think for me, I am just a massive history nerd. So for me, being able to relate ghost stories back to the history, like that's pretty much my bread and butter. That's probably what I'll always end up going back to. But yeah, there's still definitely some scope to do more of that sort of like weirdness side.
Is there any locations you'd like to go and investigate personally? Like, done a few. Is there something that you maybe researched that you thought I need to go here, and I'd love to go this place in person to do an investigation?
To be honest, I think, and I actually haven't said this before, and I don't know why, but I would like to go and spend the night investigating the National Justice Museum where I had that weird experience. It would be super cool to like go and see. I had a few friends, and I don't know, it depends how you feel about like mediums and things like that, but they were like, oh, it does sound like something was affecting you. So it would just be cool to see what happens, really. And it's apparently a really active location, obviously incredibly negative with all of the history that happened there. But yeah, I reckon I'd be up for that one.
You mentioned like mediums then. Whether it's part of your research or any sort of episodes you've done, or just maybe your opinion, kind of on that side of kind of the paranormal and the communication with spirits. What's kind of your thoughts on that?
I find them absolutely fascinating. To be honest, I think there are a lot of charlatans out there, and I think there are a lot of people that sort of say things that aren't accurate, and they can be really damaging, especially like getting involved in like ambulance chasing and things, which I have seen quite a lot of, and not about that. But I have had a couple of mediums, like been interacting with a couple of mediums that have said things that is like, there's no conceivable way for you to know that. And so that it's always in the back of my mind, in that like, well, how did you know that? There's got to be something. If we're talking about the paranormal and all of this, we have no evidence for any of it. So who's to say that all of them are lying? I don't think all of them are lying and making it all up. So I think that, again, there's something to it. Don't ask me how much or to what extent, but yeah, I will always not give them the benefit of the doubt, because I'll always be a little bit skeptical and want to verify what they say and things like that. But I will always listen to what they have to say.
It's interesting because I'm the same. The problem is, or the challenge I face, and I don't know if it's the same for you, because you don't know what somebody else is thinking. You can't conceptualize the fact that they might be telling the truth, they might be lying, or they might have got a nugget of information about you at some point in the past, and they're just very good. But one thing I've learned since doing all of this podcasting and the different people that we speak to is that everything's personal. So, like you just mentioned, your experience there, that there's no way they could have known that information. I've had a similar thing, and I'm on the fence with mediums, and I'm like, well, you feel that there's a bit of a vibe in here, and you can pick up on this, and I'm like, because I'm quite a closed person anyway. I struggle to empathise with people, but I do struggle to sort of see how they're able to do it when I clearly can't. And I think from that side of it is where I struggle. But I am aware that people do get these magnificent readings. People get information that, like you mentioned, there's no way that they could have known that information. And it's the same with in the UFO side. People have had these sightings. We've spoken to people who have been abducted, and some people on a nightly basis. And who's me to say that they haven't had that experience? And I think that's definitely one thing that me and Ash learned, is that everybody's story is personal. A lot of the time, you can tell that something's happened to them. So the whole journey of the paranormal is a strange one. It's a strange one. So I like the fact that you're sort of on the fence, but you recognise that somebody said something to you that there's no way they could have known it. So it's such a strange environment that we've chosen to go into, all of us.
It really is, yeah.
We spoke to a lecturer of psychology the other day, Dr. Ursula Volsky, about like some research she's doing into paranormal investigators and why people who investigate the paranormal do what they do. So it's interesting because from the sounds of it, that when you were growing up, you haven't really had that sort of paranormal side, which compared to a lot of people that we speak to, you are a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to speak to somebody who sort of, you've come into it kind of fresh, as it were, and sort of not without a bias, because people who grow up with it, there's obviously a bias towards belief and such like. So it is refreshing to watch your take on these different stories that you tell, and like the experiences people have had. So yeah, it's an unusual. You're an unusual guest for us to have, not in a bad way, but everybody we've spoken to we've spoken to people who have claimed to have had past lives, that they're the gateway, or they've been basically the person on the gate that says whether or not you go up to heaven or not. Demonologists, people of past lives. We've spoken to one guy, and he was drawn to a particular location, and he knew he'd been born previously and had a past life. And he turned up at this location, and he essentially had a flashback at these stairs, and it was the same stairs that he was murdered on when he was in his previous life. So we speak to all sorts of people that have had this bias towards their experience because they've had stuff happen in the past which has led them down that journey. So it's interesting to speak to somebody who's not sort of had that starting point, if you, in a good way, but so it means you can come at it in a completely unbiased way. And obviously that's reflected on the amount of views you get are phenomenal on your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
So
I mean, oh, sorry, just cut you
no,
off.
no,
But,
I was trying to get to the question, but I don't know what the
no,
question was going to
yeah,
be.
all good. Yeah, I feel like you kind of hit the nail on the head with this, like with the whole paranormal thing. I mean, everyone has their own experience, and that's why I will always caveat anything that I say in that I wasn't there. I don't know what they did or didn't experience. I don't know what the temperature was. I don't know what the friggin' moon phase was or like anything like that. That we just don't know how it affects things. And so that is the one kind of like mission that I have for my content, in that I want you to go away and I want you to make your own conclusions. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, this is a really scary ghost or whatever. Like, this is the facts. This is the history. This is what people said happened to them. This is what, I don't know, like investigators or mediums or like anyone else that came in, this is what they say. Take all of this. What do you think? And I find that by framing it in that way, you get so many different perspectives. And it's like you say, it's everyone's coming at it with their own different biases, how skeptical they are, like how much of a believer they are. And so that's why I really like my corner of the internet, because there doesn't seem to be as much of an ego going into it, because everyone's just got something different to come at it with. And like the conversations that you see in my comment section, like I learn things all the time. Like it is really great to see.
Amazing. Have you found that during your research and doing all the different places that you've done, there's any kind of particular period of history that's more active, like maybe has more supposed hauntings? Like, there's a lot of like Victorian ghosts and like ghost ladies and stuff like in dresses, all these sort of things. Obviously, you've done like obviously like castles, which can be going back like 1,000 years, and Rome and stuff like that. So you think that you found where you think there seems to be more ghosts from a certain era of time at all?
That's a really interesting question, actually. I would say, like, if you look at a castle, it's going to be haunted just because of the age of it and like what they've been used for over the years. So pretty much, yeah, like pick a castle in the UK or even anywhere really, like at that sort of age, they're going to have a ghost or two. But it's the amount of pubs that you come across that are haunted. Like, how? Like, some of them aren't really like in relative terms that old. So that one's a really interesting one. But yeah, like you say, it does a lot come from that sort of 19th, early 20th century kind of time period, really. So yeah, it is interesting to look at in that way.
Pubs for definite. And also, do you realise how many pub toilets are haunted?
Women's toilets, there's always a ghost in it. Like, what? What's going on there?
So we done a bit of a. So we started it and we got halfway through it. Well, not even halfway through it. That's a lie. Where we were touring around the UK to all these different pubs, and we've got loads more we can do. But the amount of haunted toilets there are, and I don't even know why a toilet would be haunted.
I've got no idea. I mean, it could range from some sort of running water, that's kind of some ghosty things, to girls always like to hang out in the bathrooms and tell each other how beautiful they are when they're drunk. So I don't know. It could be either end of the spectrum.
The pub thing is interesting. Like I say, we got some pubs which aren't that old, some which are hundreds and hundreds of years old. So we like Greg said, we did our series on pubs. Like, we started off at the top of Scotland. We were like making our way down through the country, just
Wow.
trying to get as many like haunted pubs and inns and hotels and stuff as possible. We got to like around Liverpool, and we've stopped. We need to get we have said we are getting back into it. We still got half the country to do, literally. But there's just so many, and like every town has the most haunted pub in Britain.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I guess they were, I suppose, going back a couple hundred years, or probably the past 100, 200 years. They're probably like the place that people would go. Very, very public place. Obviously, public house is what they're called. And due to the amount of people that went there or frequented there, stayed there, probably died there, or there's lots of like fighting and stuff, and people would even like when they used to executions, they do it sort of in the courtyards outside, and there'd be a public house nearby usually, because it's like say like a square in the town centre or whatever, but it's interesting that pubs in particular do have a lot of things happening. Um,
Yeah.
it's been good for us for content.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever run out of a haunted pub.
Oh
That's
God, no.
that's for one thing. That's for one
No,
thing.
definitely not.
So, what is the future for your channel? And you've obviously, like you mentioned, you've got episodes planned in that you're going to do. But where do you see the channel going? Are you going to just carry on doing what you're doing, or?
Yeah, to be fair, I really love what I do with my channel, and
Yeah,
I've always had that goal in mind that like this is what I want to do. Like I literally I get paid to talk about ghosts on the internet. Like there is no better job than that. Let's be honest. But I think longer term, me and Eulogy Media, we have like some really exciting plans coming up. We did a special episode where we went to Epping Forest and we filmed on location and did like all of the cool like reconstructions and everything. So I think we're going to do more of that kind of thing at a really cool location that will be coming up hopefully this year. But yeah, really, it's going to stay pretty much the same. The way that I do it is built for, I don't want to say speed because I do still take an obscene amount of time on each one, but it allows me to keep learning about different ghost stories each week. There's something different for me to learn about, and that's always been a big thing for me. And that like I want to read all about these ghost stories and I want to read about all of these haunted places around the world, but me being an overachiever, I have to have something productive to come out of it. So it really helps me in that I can create an episode one week when I'm in the desert of Nevada, and then the week after I'm in Rome doing the Colosseum kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just going to keep telling my stories and hopefully people keep enjoying them.
Definitely. You mentioned Epping Forest then, we've talked about Cannock Chase. So kind of, I suppose let's briefly talk about outdoor, I guess, hauntings. Because we do a lot of outside investigations, mostly because it's cheaper, it's free. You don't have to like hire a venue or arrange to go on investigations or anything like that. Obviously, but being outdoors in particular, there's a lot of more like interruptions or natural things. Especially if you've never been in a forest at 2 a.m. in the morning, you're not going to know what a forest at 2 a.m. in the morning sounds like, whereas you know what your house sounds like at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And like, I guess always that obviously side of it's just misidentified. You just like hearing a fox scream is like the most horrible sounds you can hear in a forest. It's absolutely awful. And if you didn't know what that was, you'd absolutely run out of the forest screaming, thinking someone's being murdered in there.
I probably would, yeah.
It's that sound of noise. So I guess we've talked about that. Do you think that is the case for a lot of the sort of outside hauntings, places like forests, that people just don't know what the environment is like, that causes a lot of these supposed hauntings?
I mean, absolutely. It definitely could play a part in it. It's more the phenomena of like when you can hear people behind you, like walking behind you, and you've got like footsteps right behind you or like breathing in your ear, like very specific, very personal accounts. Yeah, if you hear a fox at 2 a.m, that's going to be a little bit different to seeing the ghost of a man on a black horse galloping right in front of you, which is apparently what happened in Epping Forest. But yeah, there definitely needs to be more, not even more, because like you can still have the same in a building of like, oh, the floorboards are going to sound like footsteps, or like there's a car going past and it's rattling a window pane or causing a draft and things like that. I do think that any investigation needs to come at it with an attitude of, I'm just going to see what happens. Like that, I'm not going out there looking for a ghost, and chances are there's not going to be a ghost. It's going to be something that we can explain away, and then if it does happen, then you can be pleasantly surprised by it. But yeah, I think a lot of the principles are the same. You just need to know what you're looking out for in each environment, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
I've never been as scared as I have when we were about to leave Cannock. We weren't even about to leave Cannock Chase. We were still there, and then we decided, the three of us, was with Abby from UFO Identified, and we're literally just like, no, we got to go now. And I've never walked so fast that I wanted to run in my life. It was the scariest thing ever. We'd done like the Estes method, and loads of weird shit was happening on the Estes method in the middle of Castle Ring in it's Castle Ring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I keep thinking it's Circle Ring for some reason, but that don't make sense. Castle Ring, and we were there. The sort of like the night drew in, and everything just went quiet, dead quiet. And we've got it all on video where we're doing this Estes method, and Abby walks past Ash just as I say, "Can you name anybody here?" And Ash just comes out with Abby. And it's just, what the fuck just happened there? And it went downhill from there, and it was all weird. And then Ash was like, "No, I'm not feeling this." And I was just like,
It's horrible.
It was horrible. So we packed up, and so I'm hoping tomorrow is going to be like that. But like you say, I think if I'd have heard a fox scream, so I think that'd have been the end of me, and I would have been sprinting. It was awful. I was waiting to see black-eyed children. I was looking around, hoping I didn't see eyes staring at me.
God, no.
We had earlier on in the day. I had a camera set up, like a DSLR camera, and we got it set up, and it went off. It just went off randomly. I went over there, but there was no photo taken. Because it was on memory card and that, there was no photograph taken. It was just the actual sound of this camera going off.
Wow.
And then we had the dowsing rods spinning around, and oh my god, it was weird as hell. So forests, I think, are creepy as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
And we got absolutely piss wet through it.
We did get absolutely.
And we were lost at that point.
We were
Trying to
lost.
find our way back out.
Oh no.
And that was the first time we'd like all met each other, and it was the most random thing. So where can people find you, Claire? Where can we catch your content?
Yeah, I mostly hang out on YouTube, funnily enough, at Don't Scare Claire. I also have Facebook and Instagram, again, Don't Scare Claire. And I'm also starting on TikTok as well. So that's going to be a fun ride. Thanks very much. Again, Don't Scare Claire. So very easy to remember. Yeah, you can find me. Sorry, I think my cats are just fighting. Very easy to remember.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Yeah, it's been fun. And I'm glad we finally managed to pin down a time and date to get it done. But everybody's lives are so busy all the time, so I get it. It's mad. But we'll obviously put all the links for everybody that's listening to get your content. And like you say, if you just type in Don't Scare Claire on YouTube, it's very easy to get to it. So, but yeah, we do appreciate you taking the time to come and speak to us. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Pursuit of the Paranormal, title music created by Steve Yarwood and Ambi Infinity. If you like the show, please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. And if you really like the show, please rate and review the show wherever you are listening. It really does help. See you next time, and until then, stay weird.